Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. Barefaced right now. Let's do a get ready with me. I feel like I haven't done one in a while. I finally have all of the new Seint branded brushes. So I was going to break those out for you guys today, show you how to use them, how they might be a little different if you have our original ones versus these. And we're gonna do a very natural get ready with me using 3D foundation in a way that kind of mimics the Demi Colour. So if you're interested in seeing how I do it, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's get started. I haven't done a get ready with me in a while. So if you are new here, you might not know, but we had a release of a new line called Demi Colour. It's a very different way of doing makeup, but I want to show you guys a method today using our original line 3D foundation, all right? So that if you already have it, or you're trying to decide which one is the best fit for you, maybe you're just not ready to jump into Demi yet, but you want a natural coverage. We're gonna do supernatural with 3D today. I'm getting a lot of questions because some of my clients are seeing ways of applying 3D foundation similar to how Demi Colour is used. And I've had some questions because they've tried it and they say, it's not working for me. So I'm gonna show you a way that works for me, because for my face, if you've seen me do Demi, I have a lot of different colors in my face. I feel like some of the methods that other artists might use works for them, but when you have high levels of pigmentation and redness and some issues in your skin like I might have, you kind of got to do things a little bit differently. So I want to kind of break it down for you guys. So I'm going to show you how I would do it in a way that works for me, so that if you're having difficulty trying that method, you can do it for yourself as well. Because one of the things I still love so much about 3D foundation is that there are so many different ways to apply it, and you can change your look on the daily just by your application method, the colors you use, the brushes you choose. It is so versatile, right? So let's go ahead. I will shut up and stop talking. We're just gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna give my lashes a quick fuse. And I always start with my eyeshadow primer, so my lids are ready to go. And as always, I will link everything down below that I use that is not part of Seint Official, and all of the colors, brushes I use for every step. I always link everything in the drop box below the video. So if you don't know that, you can click that arrow, drop it down, and view all that if you are on a device and not your television. Okay, so my face is primed and ready to go with my sunscreen. That is all I've put on my skin. I use Supergoop's Glow Screen, which is why I have a slight sheen to my skin. That is what I like. If you don't like a dewy look, I say steer clear of that. But today's look, I'm going for skin, okay? So if you are unaware, Demi Colour is a very supernatural approach to makeup where you don't apply the color everywhere. You use the color wheel and you only apply to distractions, and they disappear, and it really lets your skin shine through. So I do usually, most of my tutorials, I do more of like a medium to full coverage using 3D foundation. And I feel like I haven't done a really natural approach to it lately. So I want to show you guys how to do it. Yet at the same time, getting rid of my distractions. If you can't tell, my eye is super irritated. I just don't know why. It was finally better. Now it hurts again. One of these days I'll figure out what's causing it. But I want to show you how I can cover that because that is not a pretty look, right? I'm going to show you how I would do it. So one of the things I also wanted to show you was our new brushes. So if you have the original gold and rose gold, like the shiny brushes, and now you've tried the matte versions, you can tell that there's a slight difference in some of the brushes. I feel like for the most part, most of them are identical. This is the main one I feel like is a little bit different. This one is more dense than this one is, okay? I feel like these ends are similar. This brush is the biggest difference. So I feel like the detail hack is a little fluffier as well. So just know that when you're doing your application, if you have the new brushes and you're used to this one, you might just have to use these a little bit differently. And I'll kind of show you how as we apply. Okay? I want to talk to you guys about what you need to do first if you're doing this method. And the reason why I think it maybe isn't working for everybody is because you might have a lot of contrast in your face like I do, or maybe you're not looking at your face closely enough to really determine where your darkest points are. So the only way this method can work if you have distractions like I do, if you have a beautiful skin with no hyperpigmentation, no redness, no dark circles, this method is easy for you. But it can be difficult for somebody like me when I have some really dark areas. I don't have a lot of super light points in my face. So for this method to work, you truly have to do like you would with Demi and look at yourself closely and really be able to determine those darkest points in your face. So if you are new to Seint and you don't understand what I'm talking about, it's because with this makeup, if you say apply, a shade that matches, I'm trying to find the lightest point in my face. Like here, I'm a little lighter. If I was to apply a shade that matches that area of my face over this area, it's not gonna last. It's actually going to make this appear textured. It's not gonna blend well, and it will fade through the day. So the first thing with this makeup you have to do is look at the darkest points in your face and use a color that's going to match that. So that is always the first thing I look at when I'm color matching you is if you say you have any issues, say like redness. I feel like I don't look super red today, but I've got redness through this area of my face, a little bit through here and right on the tip of my chin, okay? Now, when I'm choosing a color for you of what some artists call it a camo color, some artists call it a contrast color, I call it a color corrector because usually if you have darker tones in your face, usually a point that you want corrected. It's usually something like hyperpigmentation. So it's a color chosen that's going to really get rid of that. And not all of our highlight shades work in the same way. Some of them are better for correcting redness and hyperpigmentation and dark circles better than others. And some of them don't really do much when they get put over a darker tone. They don't really mitigate that. So I'm gonna choose a color that's going to really help those areas disappear, okay, in the best way possible. So, okay, so when I'm looking at my face, I've got that redness, right? I've got blemishes. This, of course, stands out big time because it's very dark. If you look around my nose, my entire nose as a whole is the darkest point of my face, okay? So my nose is darker. If I was to apply a lighter shade like I would here, it's gonna show texture. It's not gonna last, and I'm gonna be one of those that loses the color on their nose before the rest of their face, which I know from color matching, people that have been color matched before and their nose isn't lasting, it's because they weren't matched with a color dark enough for that area of their face. And naturally, your nose sticks out farther than anything else, so it's gonna get the most sun. So that's super natural. Mine is it's got the most hyperpigmentation. It's got the most freckling from sun damage. So that is why my nose is so much darker. So I have to take that into account. So if you're looking at your face really closely, you really got to pay attention to your skin tone. And if you've been wearing 3D, you will be able to assess that so much easier, because if you're wearing just one color all over and you have certain areas that aren't lasting, like the other areas of your face, that is your number one sign that those areas are darker than the other areas. Does that make sense? Okay, so today, since we are going for super natural, I'm gonna use a different brush, okay? Brand new, I haven't even used it yet. This is the blend brush, okay? It was originally designed for powder, which is why it's so flexible. We've learned that it really picks up very little product and can really give you the absolute lightest application possible. So that's what we're going for today. I'm gonna show you how you can still use multiple shades in order to match those darkest points and color correct, yet still give you a very natural look and show your skin through. First things first, I'm gonna use the same colors I always do for simplicity. Okay. So what that consists of is I use Mango as my darkest color corrector, always darkest shade first, okay? I'm gonna like emphasize that. Okay, with this makeup, you have to match those darkest tones first, so that means you have to apply the darkest to lightest highlight shade, okay? Then I'm gonna bring in a main shade, okay? That's gonna tone down any areas that are too dark that I might have needed to use the color corrector on, but that I want to kind of brighten them up or tone down the warmth. If you can tell from looking at this color, this shade always scares people. This is Mango. It is pretty warm, okay? It is warmer than my neck. It is darker than my neck. Oh man, I just got highlight on my shirt. Ignore that. Anyway, don't stick your finger in the cream, Sarah. Okay, so this is gonna tone down any warmth there and kind of bring me back to matching. And then I'm gonna use this brightener shade. Now, what I see a lot of times is that people will just kind of spot colors all over with no layering. And you totally can do that with this makeup, okay? But if you're not paying attention to your darkest tones, remember, if you apply a shade too light, it's gonna create texture in that area. So for me, underneath my eyes, if I was to go straight in with my brightener, where I want to brighten there, you can tell I've got hyperpigmentation around my eyes. I've got darkness in here. I mean, right now I have super red tones, right? Because I've got major irritation going on. That color would never give me coverage there because it's too light for anything there. Really, the only area of my face that is that light might be a little bit around my mouth area, maybe right here, like very, very minimal areas of my face are that light. But I want to bring brightness to the center of my face, and I want to be able to brighten. So the only way I can use that color is to match my darkest tones first and make sure I get coverage, and then I can use that color very sparingly, okay, to kind of bring that light back into my face, okay? All right, let's start with my color corrector. I'm gonna use this small end of the blend brush to really make sure I'm only applying it where needed, okay? So with anything, we never swipe, okay? Just gonna kind of tap. You'll see this is a brand new white brush, so you'll see how very, very little, very little I'm using there. Okay, so where should we start first? Okay, I'm gonna first start on my nose, okay? Because this, my entire nose, we already established, is darker, right? Okay, if I don't apply this color as a base, I'm never gonna be able to get longevity with my makeup. And when I'm color matching somebody, longevity is literally my number one goal. If you apply it and it looks beautiful, but it doesn't last but 2 hours, what is the purpose? I don't see a point to makeup if it's not gonna last. Okay, so this color is evening out my hyperpigmentation. You'll notice it looks dark, right? But I'm getting all that hyperpigmentation, and I have a lot of broken capillaries, which is why I have got redness in this area, okay? Now it doesn't look heavy or anything like that. You can still see my skin. Okay, but I know gonna have good longevity on that area. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. Let's go ahead and just do my chin, okay? You'll notice that just this area right on the bottom of my chin is where the redness is, okay? So this is going to match that depth of redness. Okay, right there. Now here I've got a smaller area than what my brush is, so I'm gonna pick up the multitasker. This one is great for blemishes, okay? And I'm gonna use that same color, and I'm just gonna dot it right on there, and I'm gonna kinda use the warmth of my finger to kind of pull off excess and press it into the skin, okay? With blemishes, you always have to use a darker shade. Try to put a lighter shade, it immediately shows texture. So with blemishes, you've got to match that depth. And usually blemishes are darker when they're healing. They almost look like hyperpigmentation. And if you have been using Demi, you know, there are a lot of different colors, okay? So we kind of got to like color correct something that's going to take care of a wide variety of colors, okay? So in my case, my skin tone and the darkness of that spot, it was definitely mango. Nothing else would have cut that. Okay, so while I have this brush in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and get that blemish. I've got a few on my forehead, but I've also got redness through there. So I'm just going to go ahead and now I'm going to use the fluffy end, okay? Because I'm going to just wash this over that entire area to help that redness. I feel like it's not translating on camera, but I promise it's there. Okay, now once I have that base down, now I can go in and really just, I don't know how much you can see those blemishes on camera, but I can't blame them on masks. I have no idea why my forehead's breaking out. I usually never have breakouts there. Anybody know what forehead breakouts mean? Is it stress related? I don't think it's hormonal either. I think that's usually down here. Who knows? Anyway, okay. All right, so we got the forehead. We got pretty much this T-zone area done. Now we're gonna kind of hit this area. So I don't know if you can see it, how well you can see on camera. My redness is from broken capillaries. I've learned this by doing Demi, and it goes all the way through here and up into this point, okay? I am just going to start right here on the apples of my cheek and just lightly match that tone. Right through there, okay? I mean, you can't even see it. That's how little product I'm picking up, okay? Remember, less is more. We're simply matching the depth there so that we have all day coverage. Now we've got to this bad boy, okay? I could probably use this brush. I don't feel like it's very pinpointed, but you'll notice I have hyperpigmentation all the way up along right in the eye sockets, which is typical. That's where melanin pools as we age. But so I'm just gonna kind of hit those points to even it out. Okay, then I'm gonna pick up the multitasker again, and I'm gonna pick up this brush, This one's a little too tiny. Okay, we're gonna match the size, right? So I'm gonna just pick up a little. Okay, and you'll notice it didn't completely disappear, okay? This isn't Demi. It won't make things completely disappear, but we'll get there, okay? So that was just kind of my very first layer, okay? But with 3D, in order to build up coverage, I'm gonna slowly build up to that coverage, okay? All right, so let's do under eyes. My under eyes are really dark in here, and I've got this redness, and I've got this hyperpigmentation, okay? So let's see if this brush is small enough. I'm gonna get right in there. I've got a lot of blue and purple on my eyelids, so I'm gonna use that color to correct my eyelids really lightly as well. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick up the multitasker again. And I'm just gonna hit that area right there that's darker. And I'm going in for the under eye. Okay, so this area, there's no way I could put my main shade on that and it would color correct. Because my main shade is Sandy, which is very neutral, doesn't color correct redness virtually at all. Okay. It's looking better already, right? So the lightest touch, we're gonna match that redness. Okay, make sure we don't have too much. But can you tell the difference? Okay, so I only applied it where needed. I didn't go all the way under the eye. Okay, I'm just gonna put it where needed. Okay, so inside corner, gets rid of that blue. Okay, I'm gonna wash it all over my eyelid. This is mainly to even it out as well, because I just got a lot of purple on my eyes. Okay, let's see. So we're gonna pick up the multitasker. So if you have issues with applying way too much color corrector under your eye, or have issues with creasing and no amount of the perfector really can like move the excess to where you're not still having issues, maybe try a more precise brush. Really look at your under eyes and say, okay, are they dark as a whole, or is it just points that are creating darkness? Okay, so that's how we take an approach to Demi, and we only add that color where needed. Okay, so I've got some hyperpigmentation right here and some right there that causes darkness. This eye isn't nearly as irritated, but it still is. So I'm just gonna kind of go along the lash line. The lightest amount. Like, do my under eyes look dark at all? No, right? Even though Mango is much too dark for them, it's not creating any darkness. With this makeup, it truly is the amount of product you use. The amount of product can be night and day between like loving it and liking it, or coverage you want. Okay, so hit a couple more points. Okay, and here's where you can kind of really take a look at your face and say, okay, is there anything else I need better coverage on? Okay, use a more precise brush. You still have broken capillaries shining through, hyperpigmentation. Okay, you can pinpoint. Okay, we don't necessarily have to put the color all over. We're just gonna kind of pinpoint those darkest points and make sure we kind of build up a little bit of coverage there. And a color corrector, having a dark enough correct shade that will actually correct what you need it to, is key. So if you're using this method and the color you have isn't like you're having to apply so much that you can see it, that means it's too light, or it's too neutral, or it's just not the right shade for your skin tone. Because you should be able to get really good coverage with your color corrector and not be able to see it too much. Now, granted, very fair shades can wear mango as a color corrector as well. They just have to apply less, and then their main shade can really tone down that warmth. So for me, I'm only one shade apart from my color corrector, which is why you don't see it as much, okay? Now, that being said, if I was to apply it too heavy, you would be able to see it. You would totally be able to see it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to see it at all. One of the signs, the warning signs that you're using a shade too light, is that you're having to build it up so much in order to get coverage on whatever it is that you're seeing it pull super yellow or super orange. That just means it's the wrong color for you. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so next, we're gonna switch it up. We're going to contour. So you can contour first. It truly depends on your skin and what your contour areas look like. So you'll notice I didn't put anything here. I did put a little bit of mango here, but not much. But I had to put mango here, okay? So if I wanna contour my nose, I have to use that darkest tone first, then I can contour. Otherwise, I can't color correct this first and match my darkest tones. So truly look at your face. If you need something in your contour areas, do that first, okay? If you've tried to contour first and it's pulling super red, orange, way too warm, and you have redness in that area, it's because you need to color correct that first. Then you can apply your contour and it won't pull as warm on you, all right? So for me, I like to put a little bit of base down. I get a better blend. I get a more seamless contour, and I get better longevity for my nose. So let's go to the detail brush. This is my Ride or Die contour brush. This brush, I do notice is it's a little bit more flexible than the original. So that being said, I still dip in the exact same way. Since I have redness here, I still need to stick to a cool contour. Otherwise, it's going to pull out that redness and make me appear more warm, okay? So I'm still gonna do this. The brush moves a little bit more than the last one. So just know that, okay? Definitely this one's gonna be a lot harder to swipe into. So I recommend trying to pounce, all right? So we're gonna start with the cheekbone. We're going to feel for that cheekbone, okay? You can literally feel it all the way down your face, okay? Really, if you pay attention to how your cheekbone is shaped on your face, you will always get the perfect contour, okay? If you apply it on top or too high, it's not gonna look right. If you apply it too low, so my contour cheekbone is right there. If I apply my contour down here, it's gonna be too low. It's gonna drag my face down. If you use this brush to cup your cheekbone, so feel for it, okay? Then literally push it up to feel for your cheekbone. Guess what? You're going to always have the right placement, okay? I still recommend stopping about the corner of your eye, okay? And then just press. So with this brush, I still recommend pressing, okay? You can kind of pull up to blend, but never go back and forth. If you're saying your contour is too light and I've matched you, it's because you're blending it out too much, okay? It happens a lot, okay? Okay, press along that line. Remember, our contours give coverage. So even though I didn't apply highlight in this entire area, you can see I'm getting coverage there. Okay, now I can always blend this out. I haven't applied my highlight yet, so it's going to blend a little bit as I apply that, because right here, I feel like it's too harsh. It's because I barely added any color corrector here, but I don't have good coverage there yet. We'll get there, okay? We're just gonna repeat on the other side, okay? So feel for that cheekbone, press it up, and then just press, keep pressing while lifting your brush upwards so you get a nice blend going up and it doesn't pull your face down. Okay, forehead is much easier. You just kind of want to press it along the hairline. Most people don't need a color corrector around their hairline. I don't know if I've ever color matched anyone that did. Okay, so blend up into your hair and then down your forehead. Okay, just make sure you're blending it down so you don't have a stripe right there. You can go as far down as you want on the temple. If you go down farther, it's going to just kind of give you the illusion of a more narrow face. Okay, if you are like thinner through here, you don't need to go down that far. You can just keep it higher on your forehead. Okay, so under the jawline, start back by the ear, pull under your jaw. If you have pre-gels like I do, you can kind of go up a little bit onto that area to kind of give the illusion of that being straight. I recommend blending down your neck so you don't have any weird lines. But as always, foreheads and jaws are totally optional. Okay, so I am gonna do my nose since I already color corrected there. I'm just gonna kind of wiggle just the very edge of my brush. And I'm just going to, let's see if I can do this in the, just kind of give myself a straight line there. Now this end, I do like to blend with. I feel like it's a little bit looser to actually apply contour with. It's not quite as dense. There you go, that's the word I was looking for. Okay, so if you are used to nose contouring and you just do it over a normal shade and you've noticed that your nose contour is gone, it's because your nose is too dark for that shade. The same thing happens with your cheek contour. If you're layering your cheek contour over your highlight and your contour is disappearing, when your highlight fades, it takes everything with it. That includes lip and cheek, contour, everything. So if that shade is too light for that area you're applying it to, that is what happens. So that is the longevity issue we're trying to avoid. So if you're having issues with your contour lasting and you're not applying anything underneath it, that's usually using something underneath your makeup with silicones. So find something silicone free. Don't use skincare products with silicones, no primers, nothing, and then try it and see if that helps. Okay, so we have contoured. What else can we contour? Contour under the lip real quick. Okay, remember, contours give coverage, so kind of just evens you out a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna go into your main shade. Now, with the main shade, this does not have to be applied everywhere. So if your jawline has nothing on it, you don't have to apply this shade. Now mine, I don't know if you can tell, I've got hyperpigmentation pretty much everywhere. So if I don't apply it here, I feel like it looks off because I don't have a nice blend. So I'm just going to use the big end. I'm gonna barely tap in. In this brush, I'm just going to really lightly add a little bit of coverage there, okay? It evens out your skin like that with very little product, okay? You can also use it to kind of clean up your contour or blend it a little bit more as well if you want more of a blend. Okay. Now here I did use a color corrector, okay, here and here, okay. I'm gonna kind of, you guys know I'm a stickler about stippling when we do full coverage or medium coverage when we're using a color corrector. Here, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just gonna kind of tap it right there, okay? Just to make sure I don't move that color I already placed, okay? Kind of evens it out. Make sure I'm not pulling too warm anywhere, okay? Okay, so let's do the same thing around my mouth. I do have hyperpigmentation there as well. I pretty much have freckles everywhere, so this is why when I do this method, I do apply it everywhere. You don't have to try it. If it looks off, it's because you need a little bit of highlight to kind of blend things together. So when we get up to this area, this is where I need a little bit more coverage because I'm still dark, okay? So I'm gonna switch it over to the small end, tap, okay? And now I'm gonna press, okay? So pay attention to your face. What do you need? I need a little bit more coverage and I need to tone down. See how warm the side of my nose is, okay? That's because we used darker color. It's because it's naturally darker. So the only way to make your skin tone lighter with this makeup, to keep it matching, is to layer. But you don't have to use much product to kind of tone it down. You're still using very little, but we're keeping things matching and we're building up coverage there. So there I have a lot of hyperpigmentation. I need a little bit more coverage. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that on the sides of my nose. Okay, I'm gonna go back into the fluffy end and kind of just tap right there to get a little bit more redness coverage and blend right there, okay? I don't even have blush on yet, but you can see I still have a little bit of warmth from that color corrector, natural flush from my skin, okay, that I really truly just don't need as much blush. It's another thing you kind of learn from Demi, is you use your skin to your advantage as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna go here because I did put a little mango there. I'm gonna I'm just kind of pressing this brush, okay? I don't want to move it around too much, but I do want to kind of brighten the center of my forehead. Okay, let's go to the hard part. Let's go to under eyes. So I'm gonna go back to the small end, okay? I'm just going to kind of gently tap it, and I'm gonna concentrate where I have hyperpigmentation here. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more right there on that spot of hyperpigmentation. I usually don't even put anything on my temples ever, so you can totally, depends on your temples, if you have color there that you need to correct. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Okay, so see how much more even that area is? Like it was much darker. Okay, same over here. Just gonna kind of even that area out. And I'm tapping, okay? I'm not pulling that delicate under eye area. I'm just kind of tapping, okay? So I feel like I can still see my irritation, okay? So I'm gonna go back to the multitasker and I'm just gonna try a little bit of my main shade right there to see if that kind of helps tone down. Much better. Okay. Still barely picking up anything on my brush. Just kind of lightly tapping it on. I see a blemish there that I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna grab a little bit of that mango. Okay, then I'm gonna flip it over. Use a little bit of my main shade to then tone that back down. Okay, so far we have very minimal layering, but you'll see I still have very little product on my face. All right, I needed lip conditioner because I'm talking too much. All right, so there you go. Now let's add a little bit of bronzer. I feel like I don't need it too much, but you know what? It's always fun to add. I feel like with a look where you're really showing off your skin, I mean, bronzer and a little bit of glow always help, right? So I've got my Bella bronzer, cream bronzer, glow illuminator, and all I'm gonna do is kind of just mix them together, okay? Don't have a whole lot on there. You can kind of see my Bella, I'll be honest, is a little dry because it's been in my compact for so long. But I'm just gonna kind of go along this C formation. Okay. And add a little bit of warmth and glow. Now here's where you can easily kind of blend if needed. I don't tend to do this motion very often because I use color correctors and I don't want to move stuff. But if you used very minimal or just in certain parts of your face that weren't there, this is a great brush to kind of blend with. I'm gonna go back in and I'm going to add more color corrector in my main shade there to get better coverage. To get better coverage with this makeup, you have to do thin, very precise layers. Okay, main shade. Keep it kind of matching. Okay, much better. Not cakey. Okay, thin layers to build up coverage. Okay, so let's brighten. Brighteners are one thing that I feel like for my face, maybe it's because I have so much hyperpigmentation. My face overall, I don't have super light areas. I have to layer, otherwise anything that would brighten me, that's light enough to brighten, truly looks textured and makes my wrinkles and fine lines stand out like a sore thumb. So for me, layering is key. It allows me to kind of wear those lighter colors and get coverage. Otherwise, I get no coverage under my eyes just using a light shade, okay? So if that's a problem for you, try this method, it might work. So I'm gonna stick with this brush, I'm tapping in, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of go right in here to concentrate this brightener. Kind of right on this area here. Okay, so you can tell the side of my nose is still dark, so I'm gonna kind of use it right there. And then right here to brighten that back up. Now, I still can see darkness from my hyperpigmentation here, so I'm going to use that shade to also lighten that area. Okay, I am not even going to apply it there at all. Okay, so if you have more mature eyes like I do, you don't have to put it all the way up underneath your eye. You can still get a brightening effect with this lower kind of pie piece area right here. Okay, so I'm going to bring up that highlight all the way up to that contour line so that my contour lines stand out a little bit more. Okay, I'm not gonna go all the way down into this area where highlight can tend to collect. I'm just gonna kind of skip over that and go right here underneath the eye to brighten. Okay, and then I'm gonna pay attention to my eye and look at the darkest points. So here it was all the way right there. Here it's over here. I might need a more concentrated brush. Okay, so there you go. I'm brighter under the eyes. I really am gonna kind of make sure this area right here is bright. Right there is what will bring that light to your eyes. If you want to brighten right here, you can easily kind of just pop a really light right there. So that's an area that also can be really textured, and without layering shades there, putting that light shade over a darker area can really make it stand out. So if you have issues with that area, make sure you're matching your darkest tones first. Okay, I'm going to go right down the center of my nose. I'm going to kind of pinch this brush. I gotta look in the mirror. Try to go in between those contour stripes. Okay, and then we're gonna go Cupid's bow. Okay, now if your neck is naturally lighter than your face, you really want to apply a lighter shade underneath your jawline to kind of like underneath this contour line to kind of keep things matching. If not, you can at least bring a touch to the center of your chin. A lot of times people's chin are naturally darker, so if so, kind of tone down that area, bring some light with that lighter shade. Here is where I like to perfect. So I got this damp, wring it out, put it in an absorbent towel a couple times, and really let it sit out to dry during this whole process. And now is where I'm going to very gently pounce it over my entire skin to kind of blur any lines and to really make sure we don't have any excess product. I find this is key to making it look like skin. No matter how little or how much product I apply, this will remove the excess, press it in the skin, and if it is the perfect consistency, it does its job, okay? So it won't pull off too much unless it's too wet. If you deal with creasing under the eyes like I do, make sure you're using this. Gosh, my eyes hurt even doing that. Ah. But at least you can't tell as much anymore. Okay, so we just did all that work. Now we can add a little bit of blush and bring it all together. I'm gonna use the same brush, okay? I'm gonna show you guys, let's see. Let's do my all-time fave. We're doing a nudie natural look, so we're gonna do some nude, okay? So we're gonna go to the outside apples of our cheeks, and I'm gonna just kind of lightly add that color right there up along the contour line, okay? So they kind of are connected. We don't want any kind of gap in between them. Okay, outside apples. Okay, you can use that same color. I'm gonna go ahead and use my same contour for my lips. Okay, nude on the lips. If you're like me and you like a little bit of glow on your cheeks, I feel like my skin already looks super glowy, but you know, what's wrong with a little bit more? I don't love this brush for the gloss or satin lip and cheeks. I feel like it makes it harder to apply and it can be a little more sticky. So I like to press those on. So I'm gonna go with my Ride or Die blush brush. And I'm just gonna go super natural. We're just gonna put Sadie over it, which similar in tone to nude, but we're just gonna go right over the top. Okay, and if you have issues with applying blush and then suddenly you don't look like you have coverage underneath, try pressing it on with this brush. It can make a huge difference. Okay, I have to put some kind of gloss on my lips. So if you love nude, but you're like me and you need a little gloss, Sadie doesn't change the color at all. Okay, what else for our nudie natural look? Let's do a little bit of brow wax. I want to show you guys. Okay, I'm going to use some of this. Actually, I forgot to use setting spray. Shake it up. Oh, this is brand new. I haven't used it yet. Okay. Oh, I forgot to powder too. Guys, I'm all off. Huh. Okay, so use very little, already perfected, so shouldn't need much powder at all. I'm gonna use Power Powder Brush, touch it. Okay, set that in place. Anywhere you might get shiny, or you shouldn't ever crease with this method because you used so little product, it shouldn't be able to migrate at all. And we perfected, so double duty. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna spray a little bit of this and let me show you a quick eye look and brows, and then we'll be done. Okay, so for any supernatural / Demi kind of look, I like keeping my eyes very natural as well. So my Ride or Die is Bubba. So I'm gonna show you guys the quickest and easiest eye look. I've done this on Instagram and you guys love it. So we're just gonna stick with that look for today. We're gonna use Bubba and Sabrina. Okay, friends, I always almost forget when I'm in a rush. Perfector, perfume, cream illuminator, whatever you fancy, right above that blush. Press it on. If you swipe in enough with your Perfector, I promise you'll be able to see any color on your skin tone. There you go. So now we are done. All right, girls, what do you think? I'll show you close-up pics so you can see how very skin-like this makeup can be with the proper brushes and application techniques. You can get any look you want with this incredible cream makeup. So if you need a color match, I'd be happy to help you. My color match request is in the link below the video as well. And as always, thank you guys for being here. Love you. Mwah.